Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy StumpD back from the OPTC video, and in today's video, we're over here on the Japanese side of the game, taking a look at the new Kizuna, the Halloween Kizuna versus the new Rebecca. So in today's video, I do have two teams for each variation for you guys, as well as two different variations of a one team completes all stages. So before we hop in, let's take a quick look at what this particular event's all about, and then we're going to take a look at the stages. So we are getting a new Rebecca character. She seems kind of cool, and there was a Viola that came out, a Kizuna Rare Recruit Viola that came out alongside her. Obviously, we can't really read any of this sort of stuff, so I would say go into the game and check it out yourself, but obviously it's a little bit hard to do that because the content is hard to read if you're not Japanese. So, let's take a quick look at what the Viola actually does. There is a Neo Toy Soldier as well. Totally forgot about the Neo Toy Soldier. We are going to have to try and find a spot for him on the team. I think he gives you more tickets. If he gives you more tickets, I'll definitely try and find a way to slide him in on a team. Otherwise, I'm probably just going to throw him out to the side. Actually, does he give us any more tickets than what is said? Yeah, okay, so they give you he gives you 1.1 times tickets. So I might have to try and include him on a team somewhere. And we'll see how we go from there. But we'll have a look at that as we sort of make our way through. So the new Viola is a Kizuna Rare Recruit. I did manage to pick her up. I did 3 multis, so she's very, very good. And on one team for each of them, you will see her, as well as using her as a friend captain. But let's take a quick look at what the Rebecca does. She's a Free Spirit Striker captain, 3.5. HP and recovery by 1.2. Her special reduces 2 turns of defense of all characters. Sorry, for 2 turns. Reduces all defense to 0 for 2 turns. Boosts the chain multiplier by 1.0 for 1 turn. Drastically reduces damage over 3,000 if HP is full. She's going to boost attack against enemies with defense down for 1.75 for 2 turns as well. So she's a self-proccing conditional boost as long as you're at max HP. I don't really know how much play this particular character is going to get, as obviously with full immunity, like the defense down isn't going to matter anyway. So look, there's also that, but she seems kind of interesting. She is like a standalone Rebecca, which is kind of cool, but we will sort of have to wait and see how much play she actually sees. She has dex damage reduction, she has critical hit, and she has 5% HP attack recovery to free spirit characters as a support. Her Pirate Rumble is level 5 attack up to strength count allies for 10 seconds. 1.7 times her attack and damage to all enemies in a medium range. And then strength allies attack up level 5, HP up level 4 for her Pirate Rumble ability. So I don't really know how amazing that'll be. The HP up level 4 might be a little bit interesting, especially for like kid teams and stuff like that. But like I said, we'll have to wait and see how that actually looks when we do actually come across to that. The Neo Toy Soldier, he will change block and badly matching orbs of the crew into matching, and then during Kizuna, he reduces 4 turns of blind and 4 turns of defense up as well. So we'll see if we can slide him in on a team, and with that said, let's slide over to the teams now. Alright, so the first variation of Rebecca is against a Psy variation. Free Spirit, Cerebrals, and Powerhouse characters get their cooldowns. On stage 2, your right-hand side gets special blinded, and on stage 3, the left-hand column gets blinded, as well as getting badly matching orbs, and after level 30, there will be Despair as well. So the first team I have put together is utilizing Perona. So we can use Perona with a friend, Viola. Perona is going to give us the conditional, as well as rotate the badly matching orbs into matching. We do have our boy Halloween Shanks as our color affinity booster for Cerebrals and Slashes, which this whole team is besides Perona, so it will work quite nicely there. If you can think of another like color affinity booster that can just boost everyone, that might be in your better interest, but you really want to make sure that Viola is getting a color affinity boost as well. We have an attack boost with our Reiju. Reiju can give a 2.25 attack boost to Ints, Cerebrals, and Powerhouse characters. We can get around the bind with our Yasop unit, as well as getting around the special bind with Viola as well. Once the Despair kicks in, Yasop's going to remove the Despair as well. He removes 5 turns of bind and Despair, and this particular team shouldn't see too many issues moving forward. It should have a lot of damage, it should give you a lot of points as well, and it is going to work fairly nicely. The only character that you can sort of slide on here will be something like the Toy Soldier. The Toy Soldier does remove bind, so in the early stages, what you guys could actually do is you can actually take off Yasop, and you could actually just put in the Toy Soldier there. So the Toy Soldier is going to remove the 4 turns of blind. I do imagine it would be somewhere around there. You can also use the Yasop support on Halloween Shanks as well to give some more blind removal if you need it. But the problem with this particular team is when you do need the Despair to come in, that's where this team may sort of start to struggle, and you will need to replace the Toy Soldier then. But nevertheless, this team should work fairly fine. It does involve Viola, but it does include a friend Captain Viola, so you should see a lot of tickets. But Let's move on to the next team now that doesn't use Viola. Alright, so moving on to the next team now, we are utilizing Halloween Law as our captain. Halloween Law's great because he can actually remove the Despair with his captain ability. He's also going to be our orb booster for 2 stages. We have Marco on this team to get around the special blind and be a color affinity booster. Remember, the special blind's only on the right hand side, so like you can just sort of like not worry about it until the final turn. But you also have Onigashima Luffy. He's another option to remove special blind if you want to. You can use his special, get the attack boost there. I'm pretty sure he's boosted in the event as well. I have to double check the boosted list, but nevertheless, hang on, let's have a quick look here. No, he's not actually boosted. Oh, well, look, it is what it is. Viola is a 5 times captain to Cerebral and Free Spirit characters as well, so you could easily use Viola as your captain here. She makes Strength Orbs beneficial as well. The only character that won't be boosted, obviously, is Whitebeard under Viola, but you could easily use Viola as a friend captain, and when you start to need more damage, you can start using something like Perona. That will work absolutely fine, and that way you can get a conditional boost and a chain lock with Perona as well, which is going to be really, really handy. Whitebeard's going to be an attack booster. He can give us a stat boost. We literally just have Pudding here because she's boosted. Like, there's literally no other reason Pudding's here. But what you could probably do is put the Toy Soldier on here if you want to get a few more points, especially in the early stages. Like, it's not going to matter too much. You do want to try and get around blind, though, so we do have the support of Halloween Ace and Corazon in our Law. I'm not 100% sure how many turns of blind that's going to be. From what I can see, it's probably going to be about 4 turns or 7 turns, 4 after sockets. And this particular team should work fairly well. It's going to have a lot of damage. It's got color affinity. It's got a chain lock if you use the friend captain Perona. But if you don't want to bring Perona and you want to use Viola as a captain, you can easily just replace Pudding on this team with another chain locking unit, another chain boosting unit. Anything like that should work absolutely hunky-dory, and that way you can just get around all the nasty content. So that's against the Psy variation of Rebecca. Let's move on to the next variation now. Alright, so moving on to the next variation now, we come up against Strength Rebecca. And against Rebecca, Cerebrals, Free Spirit, and shooter characters get their cooldowns. On stage 2, you get a HP cut, and they put up % damage reduction. On stage 3, you get special blinded on your non-captain, so your crewmates. Changes all orbs into block orbs, and after level 30, there are more turns of special blind as well as damage threshold. So this particular stage is probably going to give a lot of people a bit of headache, but there are some cheeky ways to get around it. So for my team, I will be using Boa. Now, Boa's great because she's a Free Spirit shooter character, and with this particular team, you can easily use a friend captain Viola as well. We do have Viola on the team once again. She's very, very good at getting around the special blind, as well as being an orb booster as well. So she's great for that. We've got a base stat boost with Boa. We've got a special blind removal with Boa. We've also got a chain lock with Boa. We have an attack boost with Luffy, as our whole team is either quick or Free Spirit. We have the damage reduction removal with our Black Maria. Black Maria can remove 5 turns of damage reduction and defense up. And then we can remove Threshold with Bobbins as well. We also have color affinity with the Bobbins unit as well. We actually want to change that, now that I'm thinking about it. We actually want to change that to this Vivi. The Vivi's great because she does 1.3 for Free Spirit characters. And that way your Viola is going to actually get more damage as well. She will be super effective against all types. To make this team a little bit better in terms of actually getting some more ticket drops, you will want to try and get the... what's his name? You would want to try and get the Toy Soldier on the team somewhere, but the downside to the Toy Soldier is he really only gets around block and badly matching orbs, and for this particular stage, we really only want it with Luffy. Like, Luffy with the Brûlée support is going to just do that, like, way better. There's no, like, way of putting him on the team to get around % damage reduction, and there's just nowhere else that you can really fit him. I guess you could probably do something like this, and then replace the Boa in the early stages with him. But other than that, like, he just really doesn't find a good spot on this particular team. We don't have a way to trigger the Luffy super typing as well, unless you sort of replace Black Maria with something like Uso Hachi. That could easily work as well. But for the time being, I think like this particular team's gonna have more damage. But if you do want more tickets, then just slap on that Toy Soldier as well. But that's the first team. Let's move on to the team without Viola now. Alright, so the next team is utilizing no Viola, but it should work with a friend captain Viola, as it is very Free Spirit centric. We do have Ace Sabo here. Ace Sabo is great because they can just get around the special blind. You don't have to worry about too much with them as long as you have Sabo as your captain. But you ideally want to be able to like have Sabo and then switch into Ace, so then that way you just sort of get around the special blind that way. And that should just work absolutely hunky-dory. As long as you got one of them as Sabo, you are going to be fine. They're actually an orb booster as well, which is great, and you can use their switch to get color affinity. Once again, we get around Threshold with our Bobbins unit. There's not many other characters that can get around Threshold that aren't quick. that could also work well as a Free Spirits shooter or Cerebral. Like I said, you do have Usohachi, but he doesn't have color affinity. We do have the color affinity buff with Magellan, just to make things a bit quicker in the early stages, so you don't have to keep switching with Ace Sabo. We have an attack boost with Luffy once again. We have block orb manipulation with Ace Sabo, and then we can get around the damage reduction on stage 2 with our Kuja Pirates unit. So, unfortunately, we're not going to have the conditional with Kuja, but look, they're a free-to-play unit, and I thought it was another option just to slap them on the team here. And as I mentioned, because they're free spirit, you can easily bring a Viola friend captain. That is going to work absolutely fine. And that way you guys can maximize your tickets if you didn't summon for the Viola. The rest of the supports, you can just literally use stat boosters, and that should work absolutely hunky-dory. But that was the strength variation. Let's move on to the dex variation now. Alright, so moving on to the dex variation, we come up against Dex Rebecca. And our cooldowns for strength, sign, in characters happen on stage 1. Then on stage 2, there is increased defense. Stage 3, there's special rewind, special cooldown lock, resilience, and then after stage 30 there's paralysis. Now obviously we don't know how many turns this is, so that's why with the first team we are using Versace. Versace is the king of getting around special rewind. He's very, very good because he's an orb booster. You can use his support, his verse ability to give himself a strength orb, and with that you guys will be absolutely hunky-dory to actually get the chain lock. But we do have the Luffy that came out with Law as well. Luffy's going to rotate adjacent orbs, remove paralysis, and be the attack booster for this team. So that way you're guaranteed to have the strength orb on Ace no matter what. Viola's great because she's another orb booster. She can get around resilience as well. She has 6 turns of resilience, I'm pretty sure, which is going to work really, really nice. She can also give you special rewind as well. She gives cooldowns as well, so there's that option for you as well. We have Reiju to remove the get around the defense up, and then we just have Kuma here as a color affinity booster. I just wanted to include Kuma somewhere. And this was sort of like the only place that I could find a spot for him. We will be bringing a friend Viola, but obviously Kuma's not going to get boosted. So just start the chain with Kuma, or literally replace him with any other color affinity booster. I'm pretty sure you could actually, to make this team better, if you don't have Kuma, because I feel like most people don't, you could actually use the Bon Clay. The Kizuna Bon Clay. Do I have him favorited? No, I don't. There he is there. The Kizuna Bon Clay is actually going to be a better option. He's really good because he can remove resilience as well. So if you guys are missing the Viola, that is another really, really good option. Now, to get around the increased defense, you could easily put the Toy Soldier on this particular team as well. Like, Reiju's just literally here because to remove increased defense. So, to get more tickets, just slap the Toy Soldier on here, and that way you'll be in good stead. Hunky-dory Bob's your uncle. You're not going to have too many issues with this particular team. So, yeah. That's the dex variation. Let's move on to the non-Viola team now. Alright, so the non-Viola team looks a little bit like this. Once again, we are using Verse Ace. With the other team, like, you don't need to use Verse Ace, but, like, he's just a god when it comes to that. We are utilizing the VB support to give him a matching orb on the final stage. We can get around the resilience and a color affinity boost with that Bon Clay that I was just talking about. We have Usohachi to remove the defense up. We have an attack boost with Roger. And then we can remove the paralysis with Law. I don't know how many turns of the paralysis it's going to be, but this particular team should work absolutely fine. We should have a conditional boost with Law. I don't know if any of these stages have full immunity as well. That's another thing that we don't really get the information on in Japan. So if there is no full immunity, obviously we can sort of look at chopping and changing some units, and that way we can get a bit more damage. But this has color affinity, has a chain lock, has a an orb boost, has an attack boost. You can even run Yamato as a friend captain, and that way you can get a chain boost as well. And you guys will be absolutely fine if you do need more damage. But the idea with this team is to use a friend Viola, and that way you will be in really, really good stead. You just got to be careful with the resilience. That's the big one here. But you could also use this Dreadnought Saber, especially in the early stages, to just get around the resilience there with this particular ship. Otherwise, another really good character that you guys could use is something like the Arena Shinobu. Arena Shinobu is a free spirit character, and she's a strength-based unit. So you could easily just use her special on at the beginning, but she is going to give you an attack buff as well. So just be mindful of that. Her 1.75 times attack buff isn't going to be as good as something like Roger. So ideally, you want to get around the resilience, or you could just use someone else that does end of turn damage. The only other characters that I can really think of is like Gart with the Tsuru support. But other than that, there might be some other options. Let me know in the comment section below if you guys have thought of anything else. And while you're down there, don't forget to smash the like button if you're new to the channel. Hit the big red subscribe button too. But I do have 2 teams that can complete all variations of this particular Kizuna. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. Alright, so the first team that can complete all stages looks a little bit like this. Now, it doesn't use Viola, but the second team actually does. So the idea with this particular team is to use a friend captain Yamato as well. That way you can just have absolutely monstrous amounts of damage, and you are going to be in very, very, very good stead. So we do have Ace as our captain. He's an orb booster. He's a chain locker. And he can remove the special rewinds. With the support of Whitebeard, we get 3 turns of despair removal. We have the Straw Hats here. They can remove the defense up, the damage reduction. They're an attack booster. They're a color affinity booster. You can use stuff like the Rayleigh support. You can use stuff like the Bardo support. You can use a lot of different supports to actually get around a lot of the conditions like the bind, the despair, the paralysis. All of those are going to work really, really nicely. We have special bind removal with our limited rare recruit Lucy. He's going to remove 5 turns of special binds. And then we've also got the Bond Clay. Bond Clay is going to remove the resilience. He can also remove threshold. And he's a color affinity booster, so when we get to that dex variation, he's going to help us output a lot more damage. The final character we have is Law. Law can remove bind, despair, and paralysis. But I do feel like you're probably going to have to change him with something like the with something else to get more special bind removal, as I'm not 100% sure how much special bind they removal, especially once you get past level 30. So if we do take a look at the strength variation, there's special binding on our non-captains, and then there's more special bind after stage 30. So it's going to be a little bit tricky there, but with limited rare recruit Lucy, we have another attack booster. We can rotate matching orbs, unfavorable orbs. We can rotate block orbs as well, and it should work fairly nicely. If it doesn't, you just want to make sure you just look at replacing Law with another what's it called? Special bind remover. I think we have paralysis removal with the Bond Clay as well. I'm pretty sure the Bond Clay removes paralysis as well, if I remember correctly. If he doesn't, then we're in for a bad time. Here is the threshold and the resilience. Oh, and he removes special bind, sorry. So no, we're absolutely fine. He removes special bind, and then Law's going to remove the paralysis. So never mind. This particular team is going to work absolutely fine. Shouldn't have any issues. The supports probably aren't even that necessary. I've just chucked them on there to show you guys that there are some other options like Corazon, Rayleigh, Whitebeard. And if they're not necessary, you can easily just use other supports just to get more damage in terms of stats. But that's the non-Viola team that I will be using. You could try and maybe put something like the Toy Soldier unit on here as well, just to try and get a little bit more damage output. But like I said, with a little bit more ticket growth. But the idea with this team is to use Yamato, and it's not focused around tickets. The next team, however, does use Viola, and this particular team works on using a Viola friend captain as well. That way you guys can just maximize as much tickets as possible. Once again, we're using limited rare recruit Lucy. He's going to be really good, especially with the support of Koala to remove some bind and some despair. We can remove more bind and despair with Rayleigh, and we can remove more despair with Whitebeard. We have a color affinity boost on our Viola as well. She's great to remove the resilience. Carousel's going to remove like threshold, block orbs, paralysis. He's just an absolute weapon and like a really, really good character. And then the Straw Hats are going to look at removing the damage reduction and the defense up as well. So this team should work fine. You will sort of see how it goes with the playthrough video as well. But nevertheless, it shouldn't have that many issues. But I don't know how well I'll be using it, just because I do want to use the Toy Soldier, and that way I can actually just get more ticket growth with that extra little 1.1 boost. But that's going to wrap up the video today, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the Kizuna prep. If you did, make sure to go down there and belt the like button for me if you're new to the channel. Hit the big red subscribe button too. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Later!